You ever come home and just know instantly that something's off? Not the usual. Did I leave the lights on? Feeling but like someone's walked right over your soul while you were gone. That was me the day I pulled into my driveway and saw a hideous poster board sign laminated and clinging to my garage door announcing in Comic Sans Community Storage Authorized Use Only. My sanctuary, my workspace, my one bit of peace after a long day wrangling design clients had just been declared open season for the neighborhood. No warning, no vote, just like that. And I'll tell you, that's how my quiet little world spun off into chaos thanks to Lorraine Baxter and her thirst for power all disguised as community need. My name's Ethan Harper. I'm 35, interior designer. Pretty regular guy, and I'd sunk my savings into this charming craftsman in suburban Tucson, mostly for that 2-car garage. That space was everything, filled wall to wall with antiques, fabric swatches, pieces of furniture waiting for new life, not to mention my collection of tools and half-finished projects. This wasn't a place you just tossed your holiday junk. It was the heart of my business, the reason I could work from home. But in 3 years of living there, the HOA barely showed up some boring meetings about tree trimming and light displays, nothing more. Then Lorraine decided she needed more storage and set her sights on my garage. And Lorraine, let me paint you a picture. Creased blazer clipboard like a scepter, always acting like she'd been personally appointed to rule the cul-de-sac. The emergency HOA meeting she called should have been my first warning. Who calls an emergency about extra storage? The room was empty except for Lorraine Jittery Carl Jenkins and Mrs. Evelyn Ramsey, our wise retired former president who'd seen it all and wore that expression of, "Here we go again." Lorraine was all business, waving her clipboard, which I'd later discover was mostly her grocery list, announcing with a flourish that unused garages would now be rotating community storage, like she'd just solved world hunger. I tried to explain as calmly as I could that my garage was not unused and was in fact my workshop packed with thousands of dollars of delicate things that didn't exactly mix well with, say, a neighbor's rusty sled. She didn't care. The community's needs come first. "Mr. Hartman," she said, butchering my last name all night long while poor Carl looked like he'd rather melt into the floor. When I pushed for a vote, Lorraine pointed at herself and Carl. Evelyn raised her eyebrows but said nothing. Lorraine's phone blared some sappy 90s tune in the middle of her speech, killing her big moment, but she didn't miss a beat. Meeting adjourned, apparently. I figured that nonsense would fizzle out honestly. But walking home, my stomach dropped when I saw that sign on my door like a kid's prank, but with a threat behind it. That feeling that someone just reached into your life and took whatever they wanted because they could, man, it cuts deep. Next morning, I catch Carl still in his bathrobe, hauling a 7-foot inflatable snowman toward my garage. The poor guy's face goes beet red when I call his name. "Didn't Lorraine tell you?" he says, assuming I'd signed off. I helped him reload his truck, told him it was all a misunderstanding. He looked embarrassed, muttered an apology, and shuffled off. I thought maybe that would be the end. Not even close. 2 hours later, Lorraine turns up with what she calls her inspection team. Brenda Walsh, her ever-faithful sidekick, and Mrs. Peterson, who honestly looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Lorraine struts in, pointing out safety violations that made 0 sense, while Brenda films everything for documentation, and Mrs. Peterson stands there like she's wishing for invisibility. Lorraine, ever the bulldozer, knocks over my prized 1920s Art Deco lamp, which shatters all over the concrete. $800 gone in a blink. She gasps and immediately blames improper storage. I'm on my knees in broken glass. Brenda's phone is in my face, and Lorraine's putting on this crocodile tear act like I'm the one wrecking the place. That's when it hit me this wasn't about storage. This was about control. Lorraine wanted to flex, and my garage was ground zero. That night, Mrs. Evelyn shows up at my door with a batch of oatmeal cookies and a warning: Lorraine feeds off drama. If you want to win, document everything. I set up security cameras that same night, pointed them at every angle. Not just for my stuff, but to keep a record. If Lorraine wanted a war, I was done playing defense. And then just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder, The cameras caught Lorraine sneaking around my garage after midnight, phone flashlight in hand, snapping photos of the community's belongings. Mrs. Peterson's heirloom dresser, Carl's garden tools, you name it. At first I thought she was just being nosy, but the kicker. The next day, I found those very items listed for sale online. Different fake accounts, all using my name, my photo, my address, like I was running some sketchy estate sale operation. Buyers started showing up at my door waving receipts with my name on them, confused as hell. Turns out Lorraine had built a whole scam pocketing cash and leaving me to deal with the fallout. That's when I blew this whistle. I posted security footage and screenshots to our neighborhood forum community storage scam exposed. It went viral in about 5 minutes. Neighbors came out of the woodwork with stories Lorraine pressuring them to donate items, threatening fines, making Carl store junk for her, you name it. Lorraine fired back. Of course, with a long typo-ridden rant accusing me of faking videos and destroying community spirit, but only Brenda and Carl liked her. Poor Carl finally posted a long apology, admitting he'd just been scared. Then Evelyn Ever the straight shooter chimed in. Turns out Lorraine's decrees had zero legal standing. Suddenly people who'd been afraid to speak out started talking. That's when the tide turned. People realized Lorraine's power was all bluff. The police got involved after I filed for identity theft. The officer just shook his head. Apparently, scams like this weren't new, but Lorraine's flair for drama was on another level. And here's the twist. Evelyn tells me, if Lorraine wants community storage, let's give her the legal version. I did some digging. Arizona's storage laws say that after 30 days, unclaimed property in a shared space can be auctioned off. So I sent everyone with stuff in my garage a certified letter. If you don't pick up your things in 30 days, it's getting auctioned for charity per state regulations. Most people came right away, grateful for the heads up. The only stuff left after a week, all Lorraine's. She blew up the forum with more sob stories about vindictive neighbors, but nobody was buying it. I organized an actual auction. Hired a real auctioneer, announced it as a fundraiser for the food bank, and put up flyers. The place was packed neighbors with lawn chairs. Someone even live-streamed it, turning my driveway into the hottest ticket in town. Lorraine showed up wild-eyed, waving a manila envelope full of receipts dated things like February 30th from stores that don't even exist. The crowd was howling with laughter as I read the receipts aloud. Mrs. Peterson bought back her dresser, Carl reclaimed his tools, and the total haul for the food bank, just under $3,000. And Lorraine. She totally unraveled, yelling about conspiracies, discrimination, anything to save face, but nobody cared. When the police showed up, they confirmed everything I'd done was by the book. Next morning, a moving truck showed up at Lorraine's place. She was gone by lunch, not a single goodbye. No drama, no redemption arc, just a lesson in what happens when you push good people too far. Now our HOA is rebuilt. Real votes, real transparency, actual democracy. My garage is mine again, my business is thriving, and every year we host an auction for charity, something positive born out of chaos. Lorraine's name is barely a memory, but her legacy. She taught us that bullies only win if everyone stays quiet. But if you stick together and keep the receipts literally, you can turn any mess into something better. So tell me, have you ever had to deal with a neighborhood tyrant? How did you fight back, and what would you have done differently? Drop your story below. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't just beating the bully, but building something stronger out of their wreckage.